The celebrities are gossiping about drama amid Baldoni.
Asking why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were even there.
They did this publicity stunt last night where they went on SNL and Ryan Reynolds made this silly joke, this really silly joke.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are in trouble with Hollywood stars after their bad PR stunt at the SNL 50th anniversary event.
So Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were the hot topic of conversation among guests at Saturday Night Live's.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer has some choice words about it all.
The unexpected appearance of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds sparked controversy and confusion among both celebrities and fans, leading a lot of people to sideline them. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are in hot water with Hollywood stars after a major PR mistake at SNL's 50th anniversary event. This misstep came right in the middle of Blake's legal battle with Justin Baldoni, giving his legal team an easy argument. If she is really struggling, why does she seem completely fine in public? It looks like Blake might actually face serious consequences. In the ongoing lawsuit between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, Blake and Ryan's appearance at SNL's 50th anniversary special only made things worse. Out of all times, they chose to make a big, flashy public appearance right when their legal drama was at its peak, almost like a scene straight out of an SNL skit. To make things worse, Ryan cracked a joke about the lawsuit that left everyone shocked, including his own wife. Walking onto the SNL stage while caught up in a major legal fight was certainly a bold move. Most people facing serious accusations and multi-million-dollar lawsuits would stay out of the spotlight, reflect, and consult their lawyers before making jokes. But Blake and Ryan, they thought, you know what this scandal needs? A punchline. But this so-called joke backfired, sparking a massive backlash. From a legal standpoint, Baldoni's team could argue that Blake and Ryan making light of the lawsuit on a comedy show downplays the seriousness of the allegations. This could make Blake seem less credible in court, as if she doesn't take her own claims seriously. In fact, her SNL appearance might be used as proof that she isn't as affected as she claims. Baldoni's lawyers must be thrilled. They now have footage that could weaken her entire case. Blake previously said that the backlash over It Ends With Us caused her severe emotional distress. She has faced online harassment from fans who think the movie was poorly cast, and honestly, they're not wrong. From the casting to the wardrobe, the film has been a disaster. One major accusation against Blake is that she refuses to follow the director's instructions, making production even worse. On top of that, Blake is dealing with negative media coverage that has put her at the center of Hollywood controversy. But, to be fair, it's all because of her own actions. She was the one who started this PR war with Baldoni. At first, she was winning and seemed to enjoy it, but the moment Baldoni gained the upper hand, she started playing the victim. Things escalated even more when an old interview resurfaced, where Blake proudly admitted she loves taking control of movies and sidelining directors for her own satisfaction. And let's not forget the 168 pages of leaked materials on Baldoni's website. He exposed raw footage, text messages, and voicemails between him and Blake. Behind-the-scenes clips and emotional interviews with Baldoni paint a very different picture, one where he could never have harassed her. In fact, the evidence makes her accusations look as fake as a $3 bill. Instead of the typical Hollywood villain who abuses power and silences victims, Baldoni seems like a guy who… what? Opened too many doors for people? Smiled too much? Was too nice in an industry full of creeps? This has completely flipped Blake's image. Once known as Hollywood's sweetheart, famous for her picture-perfect Instagram baking and ideal wife image, she's now being called a career assassin. And her partner in crime? None other than Ryan Reynolds, the internet's favorite funny guy, who somehow convinces the world he's just a lovable goofball while allegedly pulling power moves behind the scenes.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey, hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
It's a it's SNL 50-year anniversary, and or Saturday night, whatever. Ryan Reynolds stands up, and she's like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Good. Why? What have you heard?" And it was all ha 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 ha.
Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
This was the first public appearance for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds since she filed her civil rights complaint.
It's no surprise that many Hollywood celebrities have distanced themselves from Blake Lively after all this negative media coverage. Many have even unfollowed her on Instagram. Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, along with other feminist figures, has also cut ties with Lively. In fact, her Instagram feed no longer has any traces of Blake or Ryan. After all the backlash, Lively is now playing the damsel in distress. She claims she is under extreme stress because of the negative media attention and the ongoing lawsuit against her. Right now, Justin Baldoni has filed a $400 million defamation lawsuit against her, and it looks like he might actually win. So, it's understandable that Lively is feeling stressed. In public, she says she is being harassed by Baldoni, his legal team, and even his fans. She claims this harassment is deeply affecting her. But here's the big question. If someone is so distressed that they can barely function, why are they attending a comedy show? People dealing with serious emotional distress don't usually show up at high-profile events packed with A-list celebrities. They don't walk the red carpet in full glam for one of the biggest televised celebrations of the year. And they certainly don't smile, laugh, and mingle as if nothing is wrong. That's exactly why Brian Friedman has spoken out against Blake and Ryan. He specifically pointed out Ryan's joke at the SNL event, while also calling out how cheerful and carefree the couple looked. From a legal standpoint, this was a golden opportunity for Baldoni's team. Now, they can argue that Blake doesn't take her own accusations seriously. Because really, if someone was deeply traumatized and fighting a serious legal battle, would they be cracking jokes on live television? Most people in that situation would be sitting with their lawyers, not their sketch comedy friends.
I didn't like him. Just gonna be straight with you, I didn't fucking like him. So they're both equally repulsive.
They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
Instead of staying out of the spotlight, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds decided to attend one of the biggest entertainment events of the year, SNL's 50th anniversary. All smiles, laughs, and lighthearted banter. The optics? Not great. Ryan Reynolds' involvement could make things even worse for Blake. He is known for carefully planning his PR moves, so this wasn't just a random date night. His reputation for being a comedic, media-savvy figure could make the situation seem even less serious. His presence also shows that Blake isn't alone. She has her famous husband supporting her. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is fighting this battle alone. He isn't a Hollywood powerhouse like them, and he doesn't have a big celebrity network backing him. During an interview, Brian Friedman mocked Blake and Ryan for their SNL appearance. The host also asked about Baldoni's current vacation, revealing that he is on a month-long trip to Hawaii with his wife and children. Brian framed this as Baldoni seeking peace after facing false accusations. Instead of partying at a Hollywood event, Baldoni has distanced himself from the industry, spending time with his family. This actually works in Baldoni's favor, making him seem more genuine and relatable, while Blake and Ryan's public appearance weakens their claims. Then there's the jury factor. Public perception matters. If this case ever goes to trial, Baldoni's lawyers could argue that Blake and Ryan are more focused on playing the celebrity victim card than actually proving anything in court. They can claim that instead of letting the legal system do its job, Blake is trying to manipulate public opinion through PR stunts. And let's not forget the timing. While Blake was glowing on the SNL stage, Baldoni was reportedly in Hawaii trying to heal after being accused of serious crimes. Now, compare those two images. One person is avoiding the paparazzi, keeping a low profile, and trying to hold his life together. The other is joking on live TV, mingling with celebrities, and acting like nothing's wrong. So, who looks like they're telling the truth? If Blake's team wanted to prove that she was isolated and vulnerable, showing up arm in arm with Ryan at an A-list event completely destroys that claim. Meanwhile, Baldoni's quiet time with his family only makes his claims stronger. If Baldoni's team wants to use this SNL event against Blake, they will likely request all media footage from the night, including behind-the-scenes interactions. There are even rumors that Blake and Ryan stayed long after the event ended, mingling with Hollywood stars for at least an hour. Sources say many fans cheered for them, while others gossiped about the controversy. Dakota Johnson even had a fun time chatting with them. The couple was seen laughing, taking selfies, and socializing with other actors. And guess what? No one talked about Baldoni. If anyone did mention him, Blake and Ryan simply laughed it off. Then, they skipped the after party and left with Paul McCartney. This completely contradicts Blake's previous claim that she is too emotionally distressed to even leave her house. On top of the media footage, Brian may also request social media posts showing her activity before, during, and after the event. And there will likely be plenty of them because the couple wasn't trying to hide from the media at all. Brian could even bring in expert witnesses to argue that Blake's public appearances completely contradict her claims of emotional distress. He can easily frame her actions as hypocrisy. After all, how can she party at SNL but can't handle movie criticism? Now, aside from the legal mess, Blake and Ryan also face backlash from fellow Hollywood actors. Hollywood loves dragging people through the mud, whether it's for past mistakes or baseless rumors. Just ask Johnny Depp. But when it comes to Blake and Ryan, who are charming, well-connected, and box office favorites, the silence from Hollywood is suddenly deafening.
Just when people thought Justin Baldoni was finally the bad guy, Blake Lively proved she will always be the bad guy. Justin Baldoni just released a piece of the puzzle that will destroy Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Colleen Hoover, Taylor Swift, The New York Times.
Contradictory. I mean, that behavior contradicts your...
And then we'll talk about everybody making fun of them, like all the A-list celebrities. What are you doing here? Why are you guys here? Do you guys really believe that you're still part of our crew? You crooked weirdos.
Argument that you want a fair trial and you don't want this to play out in the court of public opinion, yet you're standing in front of a room of celebrities on a national television show. Argument that you want a fair trial and you don't want this to play out in the court of public opinion, yet you're standing in front of a room of celebrities on a national television show.
Unlike a private Hollywood gathering where elites protect their own, an event like SNL's 50th anniversary brings together actors, comedians, media figures, and, most dangerously, gossip columnists. If Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively thought they could just show up and avoid the whispers, they made a huge mistake. According to reports, many Hollywood insiders at the event were questioning why they weren't facing public scrutiny. You know, the same kind of backlash that has destroyed others in similar situations. It almost felt like their presence was a bold statement, as if they knew they were protected, no matter what people were saying behind the scenes. Because events like these don't just bring celebrities together, they're where Hollywood narratives are shaped. If people at SNL 50 were already whispering about Reynolds and Lively, it's a sign that their untouchable reputations might not be as secure as they think. Today, it's quiet gossip. Tomorrow, it's front page news.
Now, Baldoni's lawsuit is 179 pages.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
But now with lawsuits and texts and all the things that she put out there, Justin is allowed to defend himself. He has, and he's been doing a way better job than your maximum effort. They showed up to try to make light, to sort of poke fun and seem likable and see everything's cool, guys, right? No, that's why they attended.
This was the big question on everyone's mind at the event. With all the controversy surrounding them, especially their alleged involvement in the Justin Baldoni scandal, many Hollywood insiders reportedly found it laughable that they were walking around like nothing had happened. People were giving them side eyes and wanted nothing to do with them. Another strange thing about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' appearance at the SNL event, their own controversial relationship.
Justin, if I'm not mistaken, is on vacation right now with his kids in Hawaii. Is he still there? Do you speak to him?
I do speak to him. I speak to him often. I wouldn't call it vacation. I don't think anybody who's been accused of heinous, arguably what are crimes, is on vacation. I think that he is trying to gather with his family and get some semblance of peace.
Mingling and taking selfies with other actors, cast, and crew. We're told they finally left the studio with Paul McCartney before they skipped the after party and went home since it was already late.
Blake Lively hosted SNL once, back in 2009. Yes, 15 years ago, when flip phones were still a thing. Clearly a legendary SNL icon. And Ryan Reynolds, he never even hosted. He's just guest starred in a few monologues. Basically, a true SNL Hall of Famer. But sure, let's all pretend they were essential to the show's history. Maybe Lorne Michaels just couldn't do the 50th anniversary without them, but their lack of connection to SNL isn't the only strange thing here.
But now they're out there celebrating, making jokes, making light of it, which Justin Baldoni's legal team could absolutely use against them in Justin's defense.
The words that we heard were they were confused as to why they would be there, and
really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking.
Right.
That's really interesting. And nobody's amused, it seems.
Heard there were people who were talking to them. Paul McCartney, strangely enough, was hanging out with them, but there were other people who actually avoided them, is what we heard, that were just didn't want to get into conversation with them.
Scarlett Johansson is married to SNL's head writer, Colin Jost. You know, the same Scarlett Johansson who may or may not have a history with Ryan Reynolds. So, Ryan and Blake chose to make their first post-scandal appearance at her husband's show, Blake Lively, on her husband's ex's show. That's not just messy, that's Hall of Fame level pettiness. It just goes to show how panicked Lively is. She's desperate to win back the media and Hollywood's support. But the real question is, why?
It does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
There's been thousands of people who've hosted this show over 50 years. We weren't asking where every single person was. So no, there was no expectation that Blake Lively needed to be there.
Well, there's been a shift in Hollywood's power dynamics, and it's completely backfiring on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' supposed plan. They tried to destroy Justin Baldoni's career with sexual assault and fat-shaming accusations. Their plan likely relied on Hollywood's old system, where a scandal erupts, the accused gets canceled, and the accuser gains full control over the project in question. Classic. If things had gone according to plan, Lively was supposed to get director rights for It Ends With Us and position herself as a victim of the Me Too movement. But now, that strategy isn't working anymore.
This is your first appearance to go out and about after all the drama to show up on Scarlett Johansson's husband's show. Colin Jost, her husband, a big deal, big head writer over at Saturday Night Live, and they decided to go into that.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds singing. It's just, this is gold for content creators, because there is this like dichotomy that exists between like Hollywood celebrities and then like content creators and podcasters. As to why Blake and Ryan appeared at the show, well, they battle it out in court with Baldoni over drama surrounding the movie It Ends With Us. Right.
Back in the day, traditional media would simply repeat whatever narrative powerful people fed them. But now, independent creators, podcasters, and alternative journalists don't just take things at face value. If something seems off, like a conveniently timed accusation or a suspiciously detailed New York Times report, they'll dig deeper. That means the usual cancel tactics don't always work anymore. Thanks to high-profile cases of false allegations, like Amber Heard, people are much more skeptical when accusations suddenly appear at the right time. If Baldoni had real online support, he could bypass mainstream media entirely and tell his side of the story directly. That's something that wasn't possible 15 or 20 years ago. Once upon a time, an A-list name could guarantee a movie's box office success. Now, not so much. Just ask Disney how those billion-dollar flops are working out. Even big names like The Rock and Leonardo DiCaprio can't single-handedly save a film if audiences aren't interested. Traditional media used to be the gatekeeper of entertainment and news. Now, YouTube, TikTok, and independent platforms have made it possible for anyone with a mic and a camera to become a global influencer without needing Hollywood's approval.
People were sort of just noticing that Blake Lively was not the nicest person. Like, she was a mean girl, tone deaf for things that were
certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it. You just would know if your wives were up to some nefarious.
Somebody in Blake Lively's camp was shopping around what they claimed to be HR complaints to various tabloids and publications, namely TMZ, Daily Mail, and the New York Post.
It is the article where they are covering the Blake Lively complaint, claiming that text messages that were used in the article that they wrote just depict him in the wrong light. They're out of context.
Enter figures like Joe Rogan, whose podcast reaches millions per episode, far more than most late-night TV hosts or mainstream journalists. His unfiltered discussions attract an audience that trusts him more than, say, an actor reading scripted activism off a teleprompter. And now, he has created a series of videos mocking Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. He is roasting them completely, helping Baldoni shape public perception. Sure, traditional celebrities might have millions of followers, but how many of them are actually engaged? Meanwhile, independent creators build loyal fan bases who actively listen, support, and spread their content. Other examples? Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly. Their YouTube channels also feature videos supporting Baldoni, helping him build a strong fan base. Once, people relied on CNN, Fox, or the New York Times for news. Now, citizen journalists and independent commentators like Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald, and Breaking Points often break bigger stories and do it with more credibility and transparency. That's exactly why the public isn't taking the New York Times' large article on Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni seriously. That article was just another PR stunt, a desperate attempt by Lively to destroy Baldoni's reputation. But the public, they aren't buying it.
We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think. So, yeah.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there.
That wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover.
Now, as the big day approaches, March 9th, 2026, the nervousness of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is escalating. They are both set to face the court and answer for the defamation campaign they launched against Justin Baldoni. So far, it seems like no one in Hollywood is standing with them. Their PR campaigns are failing, and their SNL appearance is proof of that. But trust me, the drama is far from over. More twists are coming, so subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for the latest updates.